I spent years making Sunday dinners, my heart filled with silent hope that my family saw me, truly saw me. But the day my son and daughter-in-law told me I couldn't join their Disneyland trip because there was no room in their 15-passenger van, I realized my silent hope was a silent lie. What they didn't know was that I had just found the bank loan documents where my son had mortgaged my house, his future inheritance, behind my back. Before we jump back in, don't forget to subscribe while you're listening, and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Now, take a breath and listen closely. This is my story. The lie always started with salmon, a scent of cooked hope that masked a bitter truth. Every Sunday, I, Ilara Vance, prepared my grandchildren's favorite meal. Leo, 12, still devoured his portions, though he'd never once admitted it. Chloe, 8, usually so picky, cleared her plate. These dinners once hummed with laughter, a true family gathering. I laid out the faded china, small blue flowers on worn porcelain, a cherished wedding gift from Julian, my late husband, and me, decades ago. Tonight was special. Tonight, I would propose the Disneyland trip Leo and Chloe had buzzed about last Sunday. The old grandfather clock chimed 5. I smoothed my new lavender blouse, a rare indulgence bought for this very moment. 5 years into retirement, it was time for my own adventure. My first real vacation. I needed to look dignified. The doorbell rang precisely at 5:30. Marcus, punctual as his father. "Hi, Mom," he mumbled. A quick, almost dismissive peck. His expensive cologne couldn't hide the faint scent of cigarettes. Behind him, Serena, my daughter-in-law, glided in, impeccably dressed, an accountant, a fact she frequently reminded me of. Tonight, in her strict navy pantsuit, she looked ready for a boardroom, not Sunday dinner. "Hello, Ilara," she said, her smile cold as she handed over a cheap wine bottle. "It's for dinner," Chloe shrieked, a blur of pink tearing past me towards the living room TV. She didn't even see me. Leo, phone glued to his face, simply nodded, tossing his dark, Julian-like hair. "Come in, everything's ready," I urged, forcing cheer into my voice. "How was your week?" "The usual," Marcus grunted, taking his usual seat. "Leo, Chloe, come eat." They drifted to the table reluctantly, detached from their screens. I remembered Marcus's childhood eagerness, his help setting the table, his school stories. Now my grandchildren eyed their food as if it were poison. "I made your favorite salmon, Leo," I offered, spooning a generous helping. "I don't like salmon," he mumbled, pushing his plate away. "Never have." The serving spoon hung in my hand. Years of belief, shattered by a casual confession. Had I been wrong all this time? Marcus only shrugged. "Eat what you're given," Serena snapped. "Grandma did her best." Leo sighed, reluctantly picking at the fish. Chloe mimicked him. "So, how was your week, Marcus? Big project?" I pressed, refusing to let the silence fester. My son, a civil engineer. I'd once swelled with pride. Now he shared nothing. "Fine, nothing special." He dismissed me, then turned to Serena. "How about work?" "Routine," she said. "Nothing that would interest you, Ilara." A flush of shame. When had my attempts to connect become prying, my presence an inconvenience? After Julian passed 5 years ago, the house's vibrant heart faded. It felt like my right to belong, to be seen, had vanished with him. "School kids? Leo, weren't those swim meets?" "Over," Leo cut me off. 2 weeks ago. His gaze fixed on his plate. My calendar, my meticulous notes of their lives, meaningless. "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't—" "Never mind," he interrupted. "Only came in third anyway." "That's wonderful," I exclaimed, clinging to any shred of connection. "Third is an achievement." "Not really," Serena interjected, her voice sharp. "Marcus was always first at his age, wasn't he, honey?" Marcus hummed vaguely. He'd hated swimming. Julian had pushed him. But this wasn't the moment for memories. "Still, I think third is great," I insisted softly, smiling at Leo. He ignored me. The silence returned, thick and suffocating, broken only by cutlery. I braced myself. The Disneyland trip, Chloe's excitement last week, my desperate hope for a true family moment. I hear you're planning a trip to Disneyland? My voice strained for casualness. Sounds wonderful. When are you going? Marcus and Serena exchanged a quick, knowing glance. My stomach clenched. Yes, in 2 weeks, Marcus confirmed, avoiding my eyes. For 7 days. How wonderful! Excitement flared, quickly extinguished. Julian and I always dreamed of taking you, but then... Mom! Marcus cut me off, pity in his eyes. We're going with a big group. Serena's parents, her sister, her husband and kids, cousin Felicity and her son. How lovely, I said, still lost. A real family outing. The thing is... Serena's voice hardened, her accountant's precision chilling. We rented a big van, but space is limited. The words hung in the air, a slow, sickening realization. What do you mean? I whispered. Mom? Marcus sighed, like explaining something obvious to a slow child. We just didn't have enough room for you. 13 people, a packed van. They had decided everything, completely excluding me. A cold dread trickled down my spine. Not invited, decided without me. I understand, I managed, grasping for dignity. Of course I understand. It would be awkward to change plans now after it's paid for, Serena added, slicing her salmon calmly. Besides, Ilara, your arthritis would just slow everyone down. My mild knee ache, mentioned months ago, weaponized. I could rest at the cafe, I countered, my voice barely a whisper. I wouldn't disturb anyone. Mom, Marcus said, a patronizing tone. Be realistic. You wouldn't be comfortable. The kids would worry about rides. Leo continued his meal picking. Chloe's eyes flickered with something I hoped was regret. Then she looked back down. Of course. I understand. My voice sounded alien. You need family time. Serena exhaled. Glad you understand. Some people would have made a scene. Mom's always reasonable, Marcus said, a note of pride in his voice that felt like a slap. My obedience, my greatest asset, 5 years. 5 years since Julian died. I'd bent, stretched, become convenient. No complaints about cancelled visits. Always there for babysitting, never asking too much. Never hinting at my crushing loneliness. I'd tried to be helpful, invisible. And now, I was cut from their holiday. An unnecessary line item. Dessert? I asked, desperate to shift the mood. Apple pie. We're on a DMN diet, Serena snapped. But the kids can have a slice. As I cleared plates, Marcus checked his watch. Need to leave right after. Things to do. This, too, was routine. No more board games, no movies. Dinner, a swift obligation. Slicing pie, memories flooded back. Marcus's childhood laughter, Julian teaching him to ride his bike, his tears on my shoulder. When had I become a burden, not a mother? Returning, I caught Serena's rapid whisper to Marcus. She stopped when she saw me. The kids picked at their pie. Leo, untouched. Don't like it? I asked. I can make something else. Fine, he mumbled. Just not hungry. Sports diet. Serena explained, adding, but I don't think you realize that. I held my tongue, rage simmering. Who taught Marcus to swim? Who managed his sports diet, cheered every competition? Now I was just an old woman, clueless about modern life. Time to go, Marcus announced after 10 minutes, rising from the table. Thanks for dinner, Mom. Yes, thank you, Ilara, Serena echoed. Kids, say goodbye. Bye, Grandma, Chloe's mumble. Leo's nod, eyes glued to his phone. Until next Sunday? I asked at the door. Might have to skip it, Marcus replied. Busy before the trip? Sure, I nodded, fighting disappointment. Call me. The door clicked shut, leaving silence behind. I returned to the table, clearing dishes alone. Marcus used to help. We'd talk. Now, just dirty plates and the gnawing feeling of being erased from my own family's life. In the kitchen, The conversation replayed. No room? You'd slow us down. Uncomfortable. Fake concern, hiding the brutal truth. They didn't need me. Wiping the dining table, a paper fluttered to the floor, slipped from Serena's bag. I picked it up, intending to return it, but the bold headline screamed, "Booking confirmation, family tour to Disneyland." My eyes darted to the names. Marcus, Serena, Leo, Chloe. And last, Felicity Stone, Serena's cousin. A woman Serena barely tolerated. Then, the transportation details. 15-passenger, comfortable, air-conditioned van with personal entertainment systems. 15 seats. For 14 people. My fingers trembled. A cold, bitter realization seeped in. They had lied. There was room. They'd simply chosen Felicity over me, their mother, their grandmother, their blood. I sank onto the chair, a strange, quiet relief battling the pain. The pretense was over. No more trying to be the convenient, unseen grandmother. I didn't know what came next, but things had to change. And that change had to be me. Have you ever faced a truth so stark, it cut deeper than any lie, forcing you to see your own worth, even when others refused to? The booking confirmation burned, a cruel, mocking beacon through Ilara's sleepless night. Every word Marcus and Serena uttered echoed, "No room. Slow everyone down." Yet, the deepest wound wasn't their calculated lie, but her own deafening silence. Her years of meek acceptance. Morning brought a heavy grey light. At 67, Ilara felt 90, every cell burdened by suppressed pain. She smoothed the damning paper on her kitchen table. 15 seats, one glaringly empty. A near stranger, Felicity Stone, chosen over her, their own mother, their grandmother. Julian's sudden passing 5 years ago had marked the shift. Marcus's initial support, then the slow, insidious fade. Her transformation into their convenient babysitter, their ever-present ATM. No one ever asked if she was okay on her modest pension. The old grandfather clock, Julian's, ticked loudly in the quiet house, a mocking witness to her loneliness. Every corner held memories of a vibrant past, now replaced by an empty echo. She'd allowed this, become their doormat. It wasn't just the trip. It was her entire existence since Julian. She'd ceased to be Ilara, merely an adjunct to their lives. A new feeling stirred, sharp and clear. Not resentment, but fierce determination. It was time to reclaim her life. Ilara found her old phone book, dust motes dancing in the morning light. Most numbers were dead, but one name stood out, Beatrice Wells, her high school best friend. Marcus had subtly discouraged their bond, called Beatrice weird. Ilara had shamefully let it go. Now, with trembling fingers, she dialed. The fourth ring. "Hello? Who is this?" A familiar voice. "Beatrice? It's me, Ilara Vance." A second of silence, then a gasp of disbelief, a flicker of hope through the years. Have you ever recognized, in your lowest moment, that the person you'd neglected most was yourself? "Ilara, oh my God, it's you! It's been years!" Beatrice's voice, a lifeline across the static of time, vibrated with genuine delight. The shock of being recognized, truly seen after so long, made Ilara's own voice tremble. "It's been years," she echoed, the words heavy with unspoken sorrow. To be honest, I'm not very well, Beatrice. I need someone to talk to, and you're the only person I can trust." Pause. Then concern etched itself into Beatrice's tone. "What's wrong? Are you all right? Physically, that is?" "Physically, yes." Ilara took a shaky breath, the dam threatening to burst. "But mentally, Beatrice, could you come over? Or I could come to you. I just need to see a friend." "Of course, dear," Beatrice responded without a moment's hesitation. Her unwavering reliability, a constant in Ilara's tumultuous past, was a balm. "I'll come to you. Still live in the same house?" "Yes, still here." "That's fine. I'll be at your place this afternoon. And Ilara, whatever happens, it's going to be okay." As Ilara hung up, A sliver of the tension that had gripped her for years began to ease. Beatrice had always been like that, steady, ready to help, no questions asked. A wave of shame washed over Ilara. How easily she'd let Marcus's subtle disapproval erode that precious friendship. His dismissive remarks about Beatrice being weird or her divorce had poisoned Ilara's resolve, forcing her to choose silence over sisterhood. She'd stopped calling, and then, slowly, stopped altogether. The rest of the morning passed in a strange blend of nervous excitement and quiet reflection. Ilara cleaned the house, though it was already spotless, then made dinner for two. She pulled out old photo albums, untouched for years. In one, she found a picture of Beatrice and herself at their teacher's college graduation. Two young women with eyes full of fire, staring at a future brimming with hope and confidence. What happened to that Ilara? She wondered, staring at the faded image. Where had her determination, her self-confidence gone? At precisely 2:00, the doorbell chimed. Ilara opened it to find Beatrice, still as energetic as ever, though silver now laced her once fiery red hair. Beatrice enveloped her in a tight, wordless hug, and the simple, genuine gesture finally broke Ilara. Tears streamed down her face, years of suppressed pain pouring out. Now, Beatrice whispered, stroking her back gently. Let's go inside, and you can tell me everything. Seated at the kitchen table, cups of steaming tea between them, Ilara began. She recounted the slow, insidious unraveling of her life after Julian's death, how she'd become an extension of Marcus and Serena's needs, pulled from the shelf only when convenient, then forgotten. The endless babysitting, the requests for money that bled her modest pension dry, their casual indifference to her dwindling savings, and finally, the Disneyland trip, the carefully constructed lie, the cruel deception, the cold, hard proof, how it had shattered her, revealing her status as an unnecessary burden. Beatrice listened in silence, occasionally shaking her head, her gaze unwavering. When Ilara finished, she placed a warm hand over hers, her eyes serious. "Ilara, honey," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I always knew you were a selfless mother, but there's a difference between selflessness and self-destruction. What's happening to you is not okay. It's not what a wonderful woman like you deserves." "I know," Ilara replied quietly, her voice hoarse. "But what am I supposed to do? They're my family. My blood. Blood is blood. But respect has to be earned," Beatrice stated, her bluntness a welcome jolt. "And from the looks of it, your son and his wife don't deserve it. What do you want to do?" What did I really want? For Marcus to apologize? For them to take her on the trip out of guilt? No. That would be a hollow victory. A grudging handout that wouldn't fix the profound fracture. "I want to change my life," Ilara finally said, the words feeling foreign, yet so right. "I want to stop being an appendage to other people's lives and start living my own." Beatrice's face lit up. "That's my Ilara. I was beginning to fear you had completely disappeared into the role of grandmother. Where do you want to start?" Ilara's mind drifted. The dream she and Julian had shared, put aside for so long. "Julian and I always dreamed of moving somewhere by the sea when we retired. Buy a little house, enjoy sunsets on the beach." She sighed. "But then he died, and I just forgot about it. Why don't you realize it now?" Beatrice's eyes glowed with renewed purpose. "You're a free woman. You have no obligations. There's nothing stopping you." "But my home?" Ilara looked around the familiar kitchen, her entire life within these walls. "Home is just walls, Ilara," Beatrice countered gently. "A real home is where you feel happy and valued. From what you've told me, you feel neither here." The house she'd lived in for almost 40 years suddenly felt like a gilded cage. Beautiful, cozy, but a cage nonetheless, tying her to a past that no longer served her. "You're right," Ilara said slowly, a profound realization dawning. "Maybe I really should change everything. a clean slate. It's a big decision, Beatrice said, her tone serious now. Don't make it in haste, but if it's what you truly want, I'll support you in everything. They talked into the evening. Beatrice spoke of her own journey after her divorce, her initial fear of loneliness, how she'd started traveling, found new hobbies, new friends. She radiated an energy, a vitality Ilara hadn't felt in years. Did you know I live in Sunset Bay now? Beatrice asked, a sly glint in her eye. It's a small town on the coast, just 3 hours away. Amazing beaches, cute little houses, and the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. Sounds beautiful. Ilara smiled, a genuine smile. There's a house for sale right next door to me, Beatrice continued, almost casually. It's small but very cozy, overlooking the ocean. If you really decide to change things up, it might be a good option. When Beatrice finally left, promising daily calls, Ilara sat in her living room for a long time. The idea of moving, which would have seemed absurd just that morning, now tugged at her, insistent. What if she really did change everything? What if she showed Marcus and Serena she wasn't just a convenient grandmother, but a person with her own desires, her own dreams? Have you ever found the courage to consider a leap of faith, even when the path ahead is uncertain, simply because the present is no longer bearable? The quiet resolution of morning solidified Ilara's decision. She rose, not with the familiar ache of a long night, but with a surprising lightness. The image of the graduation photo, the confident young woman with shining eyes, spurred her forward. She found the realtor's number Beatrice had recommended and dialed. Mr. Lambert, when he arrived, was a pleasant man, middle-aged, with sharp, attentive eyes and a calming voice. He moved through her house, assessing each room with professional detachment. "Mrs. Vance?" he said, turning back to her in the living room. "Your property is in excellent condition. It's in a very sought-after neighborhood. I believe we can get an exceptional price for it, especially with the current market." Ilara's breath hitched. "How much?" she asked, trying to sound casual, bracing for disappointment. She and Julian had bought this house for a pittance by today's standards. When Mr. Lambert told her the amount, she nearly swayed. It was several times what she'd ever imagined. "Are you sure?" she whispered, incredulous. "Absolutely," he smiled. "In fact, I already have several potential buyers looking for just such a house. If you decide to sell, we can move very quickly." Ilara nodded, a strange warmth spreading through her chest. Financial independence. That's what this meant. She could buy that little house by the sea Beatrice had described, and still have a substantial amount left over. "I need to think about it," she told him, though the thought was already cementing into conviction. "It's a serious decision." "Of course, Mrs. Vance. Call me when you're ready." After he left, Ilara sat at her computer, immersing herself in Sunset Bay, a small coastal town, only 5,000 people. Beautiful beaches, charming little stores and cafes, and an active retirement community boasting everything from book clubs to painting lessons. She found the cottage Beatrice had described, studying the photos. Small but bright, cozy, with a terrace overlooking the ocean. She could almost feel the sea breeze, imagine herself sitting there with a cup of tea, watching the sunset. Then, her mind drifted to Marcus. Serena, the grandchildren. What would they say? Would they try to talk her out of it? Or would they simply not care? What difference does it make? The thought bloomed, sharp and clear. Why am I still putting their wishes above my own? Did they think of me when they cut me from their trip? She picked up the phone, dialing Mr. Lambert's number. "I'm ready to sell the house," she said, her voice firm, resolute. "The sooner the better." "That's wonderful, Mrs. Vance," he exclaimed. "I'll contact potential buyers today and prepare all the necessary documents." As she hung up, a profound relief washed over her, as if a heavy weight she'd carried for years had finally lifted. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't thinking about pleasing Marcus or Serena, or being useful to her grandchildren. She was thinking about herself, her desires, her dreams, her future. It was frightening and exhilarating all at once. She knew the hard work ahead, sorting belongings, moving, paperwork. But instead of exhaustion, she felt an electric surge of energy. She called Beatrice again, sharing her news. "I'm so happy for you, Ilara." Beatrice's joy was infectious. "You won't regret it, I promise." "What about that house I was talking about?" "I'm going to buy it," Ilara stated, a fierce certainty in her tone. "If it's still for sale, of course." "I'll call the agent right away," Beatrice promised. "We'll be neighbors. Can you imagine? Just like the good old days." After their call, Ilara felt more energized than she had in years. She walked through her house, mentally cataloguing what would stay, what would go. Most of the bulky furniture wouldn't fit, but Julian's old rocking chair, the family photo albums, her mother's porcelain figurines, those were coming with her. She decided not to tell Marcus or Serena until everything was final. She knew Marcus. He'd try to talk her out of it, not because he'd miss her, but because he'd lose his convenient babysitter and occasional bank. "Let this be my little secret," she thought, smiling at her reflection in the hallway mirror. The woman looking back seemed younger, as if years of quiet burden had begun to melt away, revealing a flicker of the vibrant Ilara she'd once been. Do you ever wonder how much inner strength you truly possess, hidden beneath layers of compromise, just waiting for the right moment to break free? 2 days later, Mr. Lambert's call was a jolt of pure exhilaration. "Mrs. Vance, we have an offer." His voice buzzed with delight. "The Brooks family is ready to buy the house at the asking price, even a little higher. They want to close quickly. Mr. Brooks got a job at the local hospital. They need to move within a month." Ilara mumbled, "Amazing. So fast." Her heart pounded. This was real. "The market is very active," he explained, calm confidence in his tone. "We can start paperwork next week?" "Yes, of course." Her voice felt steady, stronger than before. "And the house in Sunset Bay?" "I've contacted the agent there," Mr. Lambert confirmed. "She's ready to show you any time. In fact, if you'd like, we can go tomorrow." Ilara agreed, a strange sense of rightness settling over her. Each step guided. She began quietly packing, sifting through a lifetime. Most furniture was too large, but Julian's rocking chair, faded family albums, her mother's porcelain figurines, those were precious cargo. She held her secret close, a shield against Marcus's inevitable objections, knowing he'd fight losing his convenient babysitter. Her reflection in the mirror seemed to agree. Younger, lighter, the heavy weight of years melting away. The day Marcus's family left for Disneyland began with an unexpected call. His name flashed, and Ilara's muscles tightened. "Good morning, Marcus." "Mum?" "Slight change of plans," he said, no greeting. "Leaving tonight. Serena wants to arrive early to rest." "I see." Ilara kept her tone neutral. In the past, he'd detail every shift. Now, a courtesy call, just in case. "And Mom?" He paused. "Could you keep an eye on the house? Water the flowers? Pick up mail?" Ilara almost laughed. They needed her help, not her presence. "Of course. Don't worry." No hint she might be gone in a week. "Thank you, you're a big help." Relief in his voice. "Keys are in the geranium pot. Have a good trip. Say hi to everyone." "I will. Gotta go. Busy?" The conversation ended abruptly. No questions about her. Ilara put the phone down, looking out the window. 20 minutes separated them, but emotional oceans. That evening, she watched them load the car. Marcus, Serena, the kids, Serena's parents joining them. No one looked back. No wave. As the car disappeared, a profound relief washed over Ilara. 7 days of freedom, her plan, unfurling. First, Mr. Lambert. "Mrs. Vance, we have an offer." The Brooks family. Asking price, even higher. Her old house, already finding new owners. "And that house in Sunset Bay? We can go tomorrow?" The next day, as Mr. Lambert drove her away from Springfield, Tension began to dissolve. The scenery shifted, fields giving way to rolling hills, then the breathtaking blue of the ocean. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" He smiled. Sunset Bay was a dream made real. Colourful houses, inviting cafes, a slow, gentle rhythm. Beatrice waited at a restaurant, waving like a schoolgirl. "Welcome home," she exclaimed, a warm hug. "It's magical." Ilara breathed, surveying the ocean. After lunch, they met Beverly, the local realtor. The cottage was perfect. Small, bright, with an ocean view living room. Standing on the terrace, tears pricked Ilara's eyes. This was Julian's dream. Our dream. "Do you like it?" Beatrice whispered. "Very much. It's exactly what I've been looking for." Beatrice winked. "Then what are you waiting for? Tell Beverly you're taking it." And Ilara did, right there, overlooking the endless blue. She made a life-altering decision. Beverly beamed, Beatrice clapped, and Mr. Lambert nodded, knowing it all along. The journey back to Springfield felt lighter. Everything could be finalized in weeks. Mr. Lambert mentioned her will. A new thought. Has a single, bold decision ever opened up a future you dared not even imagine? Mr. Lambert's words about her will had lingered, a quiet echo in Ilara's mind. Her will, unchanged since Julian's death, had left everything to Marcus. Now, selling the house, starting anew, she needed to revisit it. Mr. Lambert recommended Mr. Preston, a trim man in his 50s with observant eyes and a kind smile. He listened intently, not interrupting, betraying no emotion as Ilara laid bare her story. "So, Mrs. Vance," he said when she finished, "you want to change your will. May I ask your wishes?" Ilara took a deep breath. It was a decision she'd wrestled with all night. Despite the hurt, Marcus was still her son. She couldn't fully disinherit him. "I want to put most of the money from the house sale into secure investments," she began. "I'll use the income. After I'm gone, half should go to Leo and Chloe, but not until they're 21. A quarter to Marcus, and the remaining quarter I'd like to donate to a fund supporting the teachers at the local school where I taught for 30 years. Mr. Preston nodded, making notes. "A very sensible decision. And the new house in Sunset Bay? I want to include it in my grandchildren's inheritance too," Ilara continued. "But on the condition they can't sell it until they're 30. Until then, it must be used as a family vacation home." "I see." Mr. Preston scribbled a few more notes. "It's all quite doable. I'll have the paperwork ready in a few days." Leaving his office, Ilara felt lighter. She had secured her grandchildren's future, even if their parents hadn't always honored her. The next few days were a blur of sorting. Old furniture, too bulky for the small beach house, was sold online or given to a thrift store. It pleased her that these pieces, once symbols of her confined life, would serve new owners. The hardest part was the memories. An entire day devoted to old albums, letters, cherished mementos. Each item a story, each photo a whisper from the past. She chose only the most precious. Albums from her youth with Julian, Marcus's first drawings, small souvenirs from family trips. They fit into 2 small boxes. Sifting through one album, she found a photo from her and Julian's 30th wedding anniversary. They looked so happy, surrounded by friends, Marcus standing beside a pregnant Serena. Everyone was smiling, a future of pure joy seemingly stretching before them. "What would you say now, Julian?" she whispered, looking at the picture. "Would you approve of my decision?" She could almost hear his voice. "Ilara, you've always put our family first. Maybe it's time to think about yourself." Yes, it was time. Time to begin a new chapter, one where she was the protagonist. On the 4th day of her solitude, with most chores done, Ilara remembered her promise to Marcus, watering the flowers, collecting mail. Their house, large and modern, was always immaculate, thanks to Serena's obsessive neatness. She quickly watered the plants, gathered the mail, mostly flyers, and turned to leave. Then she saw it, a file folder on the living room table. Normally, she wouldn't pry, but her name, printed boldly on one of the sheets, snagged her eye. She moved closer. It was a financial document. "Loan secured by future inheritance," the headline screamed. Her legs wobbled, and she sank onto the couch. The document stated, in cold black and white, that Marcus had taken out a loan from the bank, listing her future inheritance, specifically her house, as collateral. A sickening wave washed over her. Her son had mortgaged a house that didn't even belong to him. A house she hadn't even bequeathed to him yet. How was this possible? She examined the papers more closely. Marcus had provided the bank with a copy of her old will, along with appraisal documents for the house. The loan amount was staggering, almost half the house's value. Under purpose of loan, it read, "Business expansion." What business? Marcus was a civil engineer. Had something changed he hadn't seen fit to tell her? She set the document aside, anger rising, hot and bitter. Marcus didn't just expect to get her house when she died. He'd already taken a loan against it, as if she wasn't a living person, but merely an asset in his financial plan. He must have assumed she'd live out her days quietly. Then he'd get the house and easily pay off the loan. Well, he was in for a shocking surprise. Back home, Ilara immediately called Mr. Preston. She recounted her discovery, her voice tight with suppressed fury. "This is a very serious matter, Mrs. Vance," he said, listening patiently. "Technically, your son has done nothing illegal. Banks sometimes grant such loans, especially with strong evidence of a future inheritance. But morally, of course, it is an extremely dubious act." "What should I do?" Ilara asked. "Legally, you don't have to do anything," Mr. Preston replied calmly. "You have every right to dispose of your property as you see fit. If you sell the house, the bank will likely require your son to repay the loan immediately or provide other collateral." He paused. So, he could be in a difficult financial position. "But that's not fair. Mrs. Vance," he said gently, "it's not your fault. He took this risk without consulting you or getting your consent." After the call, Ilara sat in her increasingly empty living room, the words echoing. On one hand, it pained her to think Marcus might face financial ruin. On the other, his act revealed his utter disregard for her as a person. She was a line item, not a living, breathing being with her own desires. In that moment, her decision solidified. She would sell the house, move to Sunset Bay, and start a new life. Marcus would have to face the consequences of his actions on his own. Have you ever discovered a hidden truth that changed everything, forcing you to draw a line in the sand and reclaim your own narrative? The rest of the week vanished in a blur, driven by Ilara's newfound resolve. She signed final papers for both the sale and purchase, arranged movers for her precious boxes, and contacted the bank to transfer funds. Beatrice called daily, a constant well of advice and support, already preparing a room at her own house for Ilara's temporary stay. On the eve of Marcus and his family's return from Disneyland, Ilara finished her final preparations. Her old house stood unnaturally empty, stripped of furniture, bare walls echoing memories. Yet this emptiness brought no sadness, only a quiet sense of liberation, a fresh start. She sat down, drafting a letter to Marcus. She chose honesty over anger, explaining how unwanted she felt, how the loan discovery was the final straw. She wasn't punishing him. She was choosing dignity, pursuing her dreams. Her new home's doors would always be open, but she'd no longer live for others, forgetting herself. She sealed the letter, leaving it on the kitchen table, the first thing Marcus would see. Early next morning, Mr. Lambert arrived. Ilara walked through her old house one last time, a silent farewell to every room. No regret, just a quiet confidence in her choice. Sunset Bay greeted them with bright sunshine and the rhythmic sound of surf. Beatrice waited outside her house, arms wide, her joy infectious. "Welcome home," she exclaimed, hugging Ilara tightly. "So glad you're here." "Me too," Ilara said, and it was true. While her new home's paperwork finalized, she stayed with Beatrice. Days melted into walks, exploring cafes, meeting friendly faces. Evenings, they sat on the terrace, watching sunsets over the ocean, talking for hours. Ilara felt younger each day. The joy for life, long lost, returning. A week later, keys to her new house in hand, small but bright and comforting. Standing on her terrace, gazing at the ocean, Ilara finally felt truly happy. "Julian," she whispered, "you would approve. I did it for us both." That night, drifting to sleep, the surf a lullaby, she pictured Marcus, finding the letter, discovering the shocking truth. What would he feel? Anger? Confusion? Or perhaps a reluctant understanding of her right to this freedom? The manufactured joy of Disneyland vanished the moment Marcus's key clicked in his own front door. Midnight silence greeted him, a chilling contrast to the park's endless clamor. 7 days of forced smiles, of navigating Serena's demanding family had left him hollow, physically and emotionally spent. Now the weight of home pressed down, laced with an unresolved anxiety about his mother. He hadn't called her once. What could possibly have happened in a mere week? Serena, ever efficient, was already rousing the children from the back seat. School tomorrow. Beds. He watched her guide a half-asleep Chloe upstairs, then turned to the silent hallway, suitcases heavy in his hands. Serena returned, stifling a yawn. "Check the mail, please," she mumbled. He headed for the desk where Mom usually stacked it. Meticulous as always, a neat pile of envelopes waited. Bills, flyers. Then, apart from the rest, a single, unfranked envelope. His name, etched in his mother's familiar, elegant script. Unease rippled. He tore it open. "Dear Marcus," it began. His eyes scanned the first line. "By the time you read this letter, I will be far away from Springfield." Bewilderment. A joke? As he read on, disbelief curdled into a cold, hard anger. "Serena!" he roared, the sudden eruption of his voice shattering the quiet. "Serena, get in here! Now!" She rushed from the bathroom, toothbrush in hand. "What is wrong with you? You'll wake the children." "My mother," he choked, waving the letter like a damning indictment. "She sold the house. Our house. She sold it and went to the sea. Can you believe this?" "What?" Serena snatched the letter, eyes racing. "This is some sick joke. She can't just sell the house." "Apparently she could." His voice was raw. "She wrote she found some loan documents, the ones I left on the desk." Serena's face drained. The loan." "What loan, Marcus?" Her voice shook. He ran a hand through his hair. "I took out a loan against my inheritance, for our new business, against Mum's will." Serena stared, disbelieving. "Against your mother's house? The house she just sold?" He sank onto the couch, the letter crumpling. "Yes, the bank agreed. Based on Mum's old will. Startup capital. And you didn't tell me?" Her voice was terrifyingly calm. "You took out a huge loan without consulting me? I wanted to surprise you," he mumbled, the excuse pathetic. "You didn't think, Marcus," Serena snapped. "If your mother sold the house, the bank will demand immediate repayment. We don't have that kind of money." Silence. The disaster settled. He'd planned to sell it after Mom passed, clear the loan. Now, gone. The loan remained. He and Serena looked at each other, the same terrifying realization dawning. They had to sell their own house, pay off the loan, and start over. A brutal, crushing decision. The night was torment. Fragments of her letter pierced his thoughts. Found the loan documents. Decided to live for herself. Don't want to be a burden. That last dinner. Her calm acceptance of the Disneyland exclusion. That must have been it. The final, shattering betrayal. The next evening, after settling the kids, the phone rang. An unfamiliar voice. "Can I speak to Marcus Tandy?" "It's me. My name is Beatrice Wells. I'm a friend of your mother, Ilara." Marcus tensed. Beatrice, his mother's weird friend. "What do you want?" he asked, hostility clear. "Calling at your mother's request," Beatrice replied, calm. "She's fine, happy." New life. Why didn't she call me? Marcus demanded. She knows you'll try to convince her to come back. Beatrice was blunt. Or for money. She wants neither. This is family, Marcus snapped. You shouldn't be involved. I'm not interfering, Beatrice said, steady. Relaying a message. She also changed her will. Bulk of her estate goes directly to your children when they're adults, not to you. Marcus was stunned. Changed her will. Why? You know why, Beatrice said softly. Your mother found the loan documents against her house. An unpleasant discovery. Marcus was silent. Shame flooding him. Ilara holds no grudge, Beatrice continued. She's just decided it's time to live for herself. And she's really happy there, Marcus. For the first time in years. After the call, Marcus sat in silence. Serena joined him. Who was that? Mom's friend. He mumbled. Said Mom's okay. Happy. Changed her will. Kids get everything. Serena shook her head. She thought of everything. Didn't expect your mother to be so determined. Neither did I, Marcus admitted, bitter. Always thought her quiet, predictable, capable of this. He decided he still needed to see her, to understand. 3 months melted. My life in Sunset Bay bloomed with new colors, new faces, new experiences. Every morning, I, Ilara, woke with a joyful hum. My little ocean house, a sanctuary, a studio for painting the sea. My instructor spoke of my talent. This morning, the morning that changed everything, I sat on my veranda, coffee in hand, salty breeze, sun painting water. A knock. 7 a.m. I slipped on a robe, opened the door, froze. Marcus. My son. 3 months. Tired. Shadows. More silver. Alone. Mum, he said, devoid of greeting. I finally found you. I stepped aside. No surprise, no fear, not even joy. I knew this day would come. Explanations. Money. Come on in, I said, leading him to the ocean view living room. Coffee? Yes, black. No sugar. I retreated to the kitchen, gathering thoughts, poured coffee, returned. Marcus by the window, back to me. It's a beautiful view, he said, taking the mug. I see why you chose this. Yes, I agreed. Your father and I always wanted a house by the sea. I remember. He nodded, turning. You talked about it when I was a kid. We sat. Silence thick with history. I waited. Why, Mum? He finally asked, voice cracking. Why disappear without a word? I left a letter, I reminded gently, and called several times. I was angry, he admitted. Couldn't believe you sold the house without consulting me. Why consult me? I asked, steady. My home, my life. But we're family, Marcus exclaimed. Discuss decisions together. Really? I raised an eyebrow. Did you discuss with me your decision to loan against my house? A house that didn't even belong to you? Marcus looked away. That's different. Going to pay it back. Start-up capital. Using my house? Without permission? I shook my head. Do you know how I felt, Marcus? Like I don't exist. Just property. Not what I thought, he protested. Just didn't want to bother you. Or didn't want me to say no. I repeated, measured. Silence. His answer clear. How did you find me? I asked. Wasn't easy. He sighed. Came here before. Called, emailed. No answer. I wasn't ready, I admitted. Needed time, settle in, new life. And how was it? He asked, bitter. Worth destroying our family? I didn't destroy anything, Marcus, I said firmly. You, Serena, kids are together. I'm just living my own life now. It's not that simple, he exclaimed. Because you sold the house, the bank demanded repayment. Serena and I almost lost ours. Sold car, second loan. Elliot wonders if you died like Grandpa. Pain. Not for his woes, but for the grandchildren. I didn't disappear, I stated. Called, sent gifts. My house is open to you all. How could we come? Marcus laughed bitterly. Barely make ends meet. He looked at me, calculating. Did you come for money, Marcus? He looked away. Not only that, wanted to see you, make sure you were okay. I'm fine, I assured him, smiling. More than okay. For the first time in years, I feel truly alive. I stood, walking to my new photos. Beach with Beatrice, museum tour guide, painting class, new friends. See, Marcus? I have a real life, not waiting for your rare visits. Marcus flipped photos, expression shifting to reluctant recognition. You look happy, he said. I am happy. I smiled. Maybe for the first time since your father died. But what about us? He asked. Your family? Always my family. I replied softly, hand on his arm. But I don't live only for you. I have right to own happiness, desires, dreams. Marcus stood, back to window, shoulders tense, fists clenched, fighting. Realization he couldn't control me. I can't go back to Springfield? I continued, gentle but firm. Can't give you money, Marcus. Not because I don't love you. But those would be the wrong decisions. For me. For you. What do you mean? He turned, bewildered. Go back. Everything's same, I explained. Convenient, grandmother. Give money, you won't learn. Do it again. That's not fair, Marcus said quietly. We didn't use you. I sighed. When did you call me just to see how I was? Not for babysitting? Not for money? Just to talk? Silence. He failed. Listen. I walked to him, hand on shoulder. Don't blame you or Serena. You have your lives. But I need one too. Building it now. Here. What do I tell the kids? Marcus asked, softer. They miss you. Truth, I said, smiling. Grandma lives by the sea now, loves them. Always happy to see them, can come on vacation. Can they? Hope. Of course, I smiled. Beautiful beach, museum, fun for kids? Marcus nodded, tension eased. Have to go. Back to Springfield. Sure you don't want to stay for dinner? I asked. Your favorite meal? Longing in his eyes. Shook his head. No. Serena's waiting. Important meeting. I walked him to the door. Awkward hug. Real hug. I'm sorry, Mom. He whispered. For the loan. For everything. I forgave you, I replied, pulling gently. Now forgive yourself. He nodded, walked quickly to car, not looking back. I stood on doorstep, watching him. Sadness and relief. Sadness, my son. Relief, I hadn't given in. Hadn't given up my new life. The rest of the day blurred. Museum tour, lunch, painting. Thoughts of Marcus. That evening, dressing for Beatrice's party. Reflection in mirror. Startled. Younger. Not the wrinkles, not the grey hair. But strength, confidence, calmness. A woman who knew what she wanted. Ilara, coming? Beatrice's voice. Everyone's asking. Yes, coming. 5 minutes. Beatrice's house lit up. Music, laughter, party full swing. Beatrice opened door, hugged. Finally, worrying. Sorry late. Complicated day. Marcus came? Beatrice shrewdly asked. I nodded. How did it go? Better than expected. Angry, confused, maybe understanding. No scandal. Good. Beatrice winked. Now forget troubles. Enjoy evening. 15 people. My new friends. Ben, fishing. Eliana, painting. Mark, museum director. Patricia and Thomas, neighbours. All welcomed me. Ilara, Eliana exclaimed. Mark thinks your painting's progress is great. Don't exaggerate. I smiled. Beginner. Talented beginner, Mark corrected. Exhibition at museum? Local artists? Wonderful. My heart swelled. Evening flew. Talking, laughing, dancing. Old music, old dance steps. Ben's stories, Eliana's poems, Thomas's tricks. No one hurried. Shared company. Past midnight, Beatrice walked me out. Warm night, starry sky, ocean murmur. All right? Beatrice asked. More than okay, I smiled. Thinking how things changed. Found something here I missed in Springfield. What? Myself, I answered. Found me, Beatrice. Not Marcus's mother. Not Leo and Chloe's grandmother. Simply Ilara Vance. A woman with her own desires, dreams, talents. A woman who had a right to be happy. Beatrice hugged me tightly. So happy for you, dear. You deserve this happiness. I walked home under starry sky, soul brimming with gratitude. For this day, for new friends, new life. Marcus's visit stirred emotions, but couldn't shake my confidence. Family ties are complicated. Not always love, respect, sometimes habit, duty, expectations. To preserve yourself, you break or loosen bonds, create distance for health. I hadn't given up, just stopped living only for them. Nothing wrong. Before bed, terrace. Looked at ocean, waves. Tomorrow, new day. Day of a new Ilara, a woman who had finally learned to appreciate herself, to reclaim her own life. Have you ever had to draw a difficult boundary with family to reclaim your own happiness? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice is important to us. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering stories.